Show me how. I'm going to show you how to tile a bathroom floor. Now this is where I tied in on that wood, or I'm sorry, this is where I'm going to tie in on that wood floor that I started laying in another video. So you can see I've got paper underneath there. This place has been occupied, so the paper's rolling up a little bit. That's all right. There'll be paper underneath it or on top of it. Not that big of a deal. So part of the floor has been removed. And this was actually, whoever did this was a little bit of the head of the game as far as using that resin epoxy flooring with the paint chip broadcast, which gives it this fleck, speckled, multicolored look and feel. Almost looks like oatmeal. So anyways, first thing is you gotta shut your water off before you even touch anything, because if you touch any kind of a faucet and try to remove it and it starts leaking, you're done. So shut off your water, then you shut off your your supply line to your toilet to remove the toilet. Okay, and it's fairly easy. Usually what you want is a 11/16 or a crescent wrench, and you can turn it off, the valve, and if it's leaking, if your main is shut off, it's not going to be a problem. You could test to see if your water's off by checking your faucet, and if you leave them open, it'll come out that way. I don't know, maybe I'll leave them open, not that big a deal for me. Anyways, this valve's shot. I tried it and it just doesn't work. It should turn off to the right. These quarter turns are off to the right. You're usually always shutting off something, turning it to the right 99% of the time, just like a nut, and then unthreading your nut off of a bolt counterclockwise. So this valve is shot because when I went to turn it off, it was already in the off position working. So you can take this off your supply line, because what you're going to want to do, don't be complacent and lazy, is change your angle stop shutoff valve, which is either 1/2 inch. They could be a compression. This is a threaded, you can see it the way it's laid out. It's a threaded FIP for iron pipe on your shutoff valve. So it's a little bit more old school. And then you're going to take off your bolts, your flange bolts that hold the toilet, okay? And this was loose, kind of Mickey Mouse here, so whole toilet's loose. Dirty hands. You know what I always say, they're dirty hands on it. So take those off, lift the toilet. We'll lift the toilet real quick to show you how easy it is. And I'll just put my flange caps off to the side on that dirty counter. I don't like to edit. Let's keep it real, because that's what you're going to be doing, something real. And I'll pause the video or edit it just because it's going to take a while to set up, and I will show you the most important points. Okay, so I'm not going to wear my gloves. All right, so I'm going to take this off. These bolts, which, like I said, I don't know. I hope this isn't too ugly under here. This was, they didn't mount it down all the way. Who knows at that point, right? Who knows? And then what I'm going to do is put the toilet in the bathtub. This is convenient, but I put a drop down. Okay. This place is a disaster. I put a drop down inside the toilet. Otherwise, you could use one of those little furniture dollies. Okay, you can use a furniture dolly and pick your toilet up. hate wrestling these things. See if I can get the rest of the water out here. It's always nice to get most of the water out. That's something you should have done. I should have done it before I loosen the bolts, but you still have your wax ring. So they're fairly heavy. So I'm going to try to put it in the tub just because it's convenient without damaging the tub, of course. And I was able to do it. Yeah, the bolts are loose. And I get to share that with you later about it's better to use 2 bolts on these. That's the ticket. It's one of your little tricks when you're remounting a toilet is you want to use 2 bolts. One to bolt it to the flange so it doesn't move around when you put the toilet on. Then your other bolt would be to bolt down on the toilet, which this person did not use. He just used the flanges. Okay, but he didn't use a bolt. All right, I'm gonna plug the hole up with the little something. So, ba-dum-bum-bum-bum. You just stay there or speed it up. And again, it's all unedited for a reason. This is the way you really see how long it takes. You have this rag with you, which I usually do, but I did not this time. And these little wax rings are a little funky. Okay, they're not my favorite toy. All right, so that's it. I'm gonna rip up the floor. If you want to see a little bit of that, okay, stay with me on it, and I'll see if I can rip up the rest of this. I waited till the end because this bathroom was getting optimal use. So now I'm gonna rip this up and be ready to go. Okay, this would be real world. If you're removing a tile floor, imagine if that was your tile or linoleum and then putting down a new floor. If you were to do it in increments, which I usually don't, but I did with this one because it was being used to the nitty-gritty last minute. That's what you'd be up against, okay? So I'm gonna get this floor moved out and show you the rest of what's happening here on how to tile bathroom floor. All right. Okay, still working on it, but I wanted to show you this to you. ShowMeHow always wants to show you how. See, so you can see it was obviously leaking because the toilet was loose. The good part is the damage is not crucial, and it's not substantial to where I have to remove the substrate, the plywood floor. But it's a good thing I got on this. And also, what you want to take notice of that's pretty good, hopefully I don't foul it up, is the flange is still super strong. So, and I think that was the original plumber, so obviously not the guy that did the toilet. Because if he put a toilet down loose, there's no way he would have done the waste bin for your toilet. All right, so I'm gonna keep going, but this is what it's looking like. So you wanna be careful of the flange. Okay, you don't want to loosen that up if you can avoid it. Okay, so here's what it looks like prepped. And most people would think, well, that's really nice, and it is. I got underneath the toe kick really well that I'm not going to show you, but you really want to get it all the way to the toe kick, the demo. Okay, but however, I don't know if you can see this zooming in. Okay, but again, you really want to get every last nook and cranny. So there's a nail here. So when you start doing your wonder board or your backer board, that would frustrate you. Or if you got a knee on it, here's another one over here. All right. I really don't like to bang these in unless they're going to go in right. Bending over a bunch of nails into your substrate just seems kind of Mickey Mouse. So it's really good now. The toe kick, you want to get underneath the toe kick a little bit so you can get right up to it. Because I'm going to take this situation out later on. And normally I would, but this is just very atypical for me to not do it. So, you really want to have your demo primo. And then lastly, so see, there's a nail there, see? Just as soon as you think you've got it all down pat, even like me, there's another couple nails. So yeah, you can just get most of the rest of this up. There's a little bit of nook and cranny right there. Okay? You can take your all paddle, your multi-tool, and tackle it if you want. I've done that almost everywhere. I may go back over it real quick. Yeah, just scrape the rest of this up. I'm going to put a new sheet of paper down. Supposedly you don't really have to with the Hardy backer because that's waterproof, but I still do it. Got a little staple there. So see, there's just a little bit right there. See it? So you want to get that out with, you can get that out with your 5R screwdriver or whatnot. Use a putty knife. And that's because this was an interesting pour. That epoxy pour, which is the first one I've ever demoed. Because it just got real popular the last 10 years. And I've never seen a substrate. Okay. So that's pretty much it. I'll let that dry out. Now remember, this is raised foundation. That's why I'm using Hardy. Here's another nail. And I'll show you how to do that Hardy backer. I think I showed you on the other job there. There's a mobile home. Yeah, you just really want to get this as pretty as possible. And that's it, okay? Make sure you get out all your nails underneath so your tiles can fit on there, and that's it. I'm gonna leave this one as the prep. And I should have zoomed back out, I'm sorry. But what I was doing was I was getting in all the corners, got the nails out of here. I'll go back and vacuum up, sweep this up, and then vacuum everything else up. I can show you that all paddle real quick. Hang tight. Oops. Multi-tool, multi-cut, all paddle. I just call it like a paddle blade. Some gunk on there. So you can get in here and trim the whiskers, so to speak. This epoxy epoxy was pretty hard on it, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's hard to cut that epoxy. One little nail here too. It's really good now, folks. Okay, show me how. I'm gonna show you the next phase of tiling from scratch this bathroom in another video.